Sa consumer, dapat tama bawat presyo at serbisyo. Produktong pasado, lalo ang mga pangunahing bilihin. Ang kalidad ng mga produkto at serbisyo ay pangalagaan ng lahat, tayo ay panalo. Layunin ng BPI ito.
Ipatupad Price Act 7581, Consumer Act 7394, Product Standards 4109, for Consumer Care at iba pa, tayang 1384.
Ipalaganap karapatan at tungkulin, kaalamang tama sa consumer ibahagi. Tulay sa kaunlaran, kalakalan ay palakasin. Ito ang pagbabago para sa ikabubuti natin. Dapat tapat bawat presyo at serbisyo. Produktong pasado, lalo ang mga pangunahing bilihin. Ang kalidad ng mga produkto at serbisyo ay pangalagaan ng lahat, tayo ay panalo. Layunin ng BPI ito.
Ipatupad Price Act 7581, Consumer Act 7394, Product Standards 4109, for Consumer Care at iba pa, tayang 1384.
Dapat tama, dapat tapat, mula sa DTI ito.
Protection and promotion of consumer protection. DTI never ceases in ensuring that consumer welfare is protected and promoted through the development of policies and standards and enforcement of laws to that end. It continues to work on guaranteeing sufficient food supply at reasonable prices, safe and quality products in the market, and efficient resolution of consumer complaints. Strengthening product certification and testing. To enhance consumer protection in the country, the Bureau of Product Standards Mandatory Product Certification Scheme was expanded, resulting in the issuance of 7,836 ICC or Import Commodity Clearance certificates and 399 PS licenses, with processing rates of 95.13% and 88.22% within 16 working hours, respectively. Through this, the contribution to the national coffers has also increased significantly to 24,718,777 pesos. BPS also supported the development of the conformity assessment industry through the recognition of conformity assessment bodies. For August 2022, one testing laboratory, one auditing body, and one inspection body were included in the list of BPS-recognized CABs. The operation of these laboratories and inspection body entails generation of much-needed jobs. 26 inspections and 63 factory audits were conducted to check compliance of products with applicable technical regulations. As part of the BPS's strict monitoring and implementation of the mandatory product certification schemes, 13 show cause orders were issued against companies found violating certification policies. BPS also witnessed the destruction of products with an estimated total value of 3.05 million pesos that were found non-conforming with the requirements of relevant standards to ensure that these non-conforming products will not be distributed in the local market. The BPS testing laboratory tested a total of 726 of 804 samples received within the prescribed period. A total of 1,582,650 pesos was collected in exchange for the testing services through the automated processing of statement of account and payment slip. Issuance of timely and relevant consumer policy. The DTI has issued and published the 12 August 2022 Suggested Retail Price Bulletins for basic necessities and prime commodities and school supplies due to the increasing prices of raw and packaging materials, production, and other logistical costs. 67 out of the 218 shelf-keeping units in the SRP Bulletin of BNPC have price adjustments. In the light of the directive of the President to DTI to make fertilizers affordable for farmers, the Consumer Policy and Advocacy Bureau conducted data and information gathering from the Fertilizer and Pesticide Authority and other global sites concerning the rising fertilizer prices in the Philippines. Intensifying consumer advocacy. DTI, through CPAB, has conceptualized and produced 2 Dear Consumer Care videos on senior citizen discount and price freeze, which were uploaded in the DTI Consumer Care Facebook page. Moreover, the following topics were covered in the Consumer Care webinar series that were organized and hosted. Benefits and discounts for a person with disability. Plans and programs on disaster risk reduction and management. Nutrition in emergencies and its importance. Livelihood Disaster Assistance Program for MSMEs. Response and relief operations during disasters for consumers. DTI has also continued airing Consumer at Iba Pa episodes in DZBB every Saturday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Topics covered included Pinoy Coco Pandesal, poisonous objects, guidelines on the provision of the mandatory statutory benefits and privileges of the senior citizens and persons with disabilities on their purchases through online or e-commerce and phone call or SMS, Natural Disaster Resilience Month, DTI monitoring on BNPCs, and supply and prices of agri-products. Ensuring efficient consumer complaints resolution. The DTI has received a total of 1,808 complaints from July to August 2022, of which 1,802 were resolved within the prescribed time with a 100% resolution rate. Of the 1,808 consumer complaints received, 1,762 were resolved 100% through mediation, and 40 of 46 were resolved 87% through adjudication.
Happy Friday po to all our participants, sa mga nakatutok po sa atin dito sa Zoom, and to everyone joining us live via DTI Consumer Care Facebook and DTI Philippines YouTube. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. You can still invite your friends and colleagues to join this webinar. Para po sa ating bagong participants, ang programa pong ito ay inilunsad ng DTI Consumer Policy and Advocacy Bureau upang makapagbigay ng kaalaman tungkol sa mga napapanahong topics na makakatulong sa atin para tayo ay maging wais, mapanuri at malayang mamimili. I am Diana Mejia from the Consumer Policy and Advocacy Bureau, and I will be your moderator for today's webinar. Manatili lamang pong nakatutok sa ating Consumer Care webinar series tuwing Martes sa DTI Consumer Care Facebook page para sa iba pang mga detalye at announcement. And now for our 219th webinar session this morning, our topic is about Earth Hour campaign. Pero bago po tayo magsimula, we would like to give some reminders. Unang-una po, ang ating webinar session ay recorded. By continuing your participation in the meeting, you are also consenting that you may be recorded. We are encouraging you to stay at samahan niyo po kami hanggang matapos at sabay-sabay tayong matuto sa topic natin ngayong umaga. Ang mga sumusunod po na reminders ay para masiguro na smooth ang ating webinar session. Una po, pakipalitan ng format ng inyong pangalan, maaring consumers, face full name, o di po kaya'y pangalan ng company, then your complete name. Kung masyado naman pong mahaba ang pangalan ng company, kahit acronym na lamang po ang gamitin. Please turn off your mic during the webinar session unless you are requested by the moderator to speak. Para naman po sa mga katanungan, we are encouraging everyone to click the raise hand button to directly address the speakers during the question and answer portion, or you may send in your question through the chat box. And last, para po sa mga naka-touchscreen device, please avoid drawing or making annotations on the screen para hindi po natin madistract ang ating speaker at iba pang mga participants. Without further ado, let us begin this webinar session by singing the Philippine National Anthem to be followed by the invocation.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Loving Heavenly Father, we come to you this hour asking for your blessing as we are gathered together in this webinar. May your blessings of wisdom and guidance be upon us all through the sharing and impartation of knowledge and skills by our resource speakers, facilitators, and moderators. Bless also the participants so that they would be able to glean the information from this activity and share what we have learned in the spirit of your generosity. Lord, we bring you our prayers, our commitment, our gifts to you this day. Let us, who have a keen dedication and awareness of your creation, have courage and conviction that we are able to contribute to the sustainability of the earth. Inspire us as we make choices so that we will recognize the impact our lives have on our environment and our human family around the globe. Pour out your blessing upon us today, Lord. May each of our actions reveal our awareness that we are partners with you in the creation and sustainability of this earth that you have given to us to appreciate and enjoy. We ask this in the name of your Son. Amen. Loving Heavenly Father,
Good morning po ulit sa lahat ng ating mga participants na nakatutok po dito sa Zoom, Facebook at YouTube live stream. Muli nais po naming imbitahan ang lahat na mag-subscribe sa DTI 1384 text messaging upang makatanggap po tayo ng mga updates at kaganapan ng DTI Consumer Protection Group. Tandaan, wais ang consumer na may alam. And now for our 219th webinar session for this morning, our topic is about Earth Hour campaign. To formally start our session for today, we would like to call the officer in charge of Consumer Advocacy Division, Ms. Vivienne O. Alarcado. Good morning po, Ms. Bien.
Good morning, Diana. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 219th Consumer Care webinar. And our topic for today is Earth Hour Movement. Earth Hour is the worldwide fund for nature's global environmental movement that aims to inspire and empower the general public to take action by raising awareness of how accelerating climate change and biodiversity loss threaten the planet. The Worldwide Fund for Nature organizes a Lights Off event every last Saturday of March, where individuals, businesses, and communities are encouraged to turn off their non-essential electric lights for an hour from 8:30 to 9:30 p.m. More details will be discussed to you later by our resource speaker. On behalf of our directors, Attorney Marcos Valdez and Attorney Shep Carbonell, I would like to thank all the participants and our resource speaker, Attorney Angela Consuelo Ibay, the National Director of Earth Hour Philippines. So let's listen and ask questions to learn more about the. Thank you.
Thank you po, Ms. Bien. To echo Ms. Bien, we are very fortunate to have with us our speaker from WWF-Philippines. Our speaker for this morning, she holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in Economics from the Ateneo de Manila University and a Bachelor of Law degree from the UP College of Law. She has received training from the VERS Environmental Leadership Program, University of California, Berkeley, USA, and the Renewables Academy, Berlin, Germany. Last March 2022, she was elected to the Board of Directors of the Climate Action Network International, the world's largest climate network fighting the climate crisis. Her expertise includes environmental law and policy, climate change, climate finance, pollution, hazardous waste, renewable energy legislation, and policy. With over 20 years of experience working on climate change, energy, and environment issues, she presently heads the Climate Change and Energy Program of the Worldwide Fund Nature. Philippines and concurrently serve as Earth Hour Philippine National Director. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome Attorney Angela Consuelo S. Ibay. Good morning po, Attorney Gia. The floor is now yours.
Makalikasang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Good morning and on behalf of WWF and of course Earth R, I would like to thank DTI for inviting us to be your 219th, if I'm not mistaken, session. And since this is the first time that WWF I think is presenting, and we're presenting to DTI on Earth R, allow me to introduce to you, of course, our organization. So I will just share my screen and there. So I guess you know the iconic panda, that is our logo. But we are beyond just the panda itself. WWF has been in existence since 1961. So we've celebrated already 60 years of environmental advocacy throughout the years. And we're present in over 100 countries. In the Philippines, we were established in 1997 and we're actually registered as Kabang Kalikasan ng Pilipinas Foundation, Inc. Many know us as the World Wildlife Fund because of our US office and Canada office. That's the only two offices that use the wildlife in their name. I think it's also because we started off as a wildlife conservation organization, but since then we have branched off. That's why our name reflects the mandate that we are beyond just wildlife. We are the Worldwide Fund for Nature. And to reflect that is because we have our own goals as WWF that by 2030, we would want to be able to protect and restore nature for the benefit of both people and planet. Our goals are summarized into three things: zero, zero, and a half, meaning we want to be able to have zero extinction of the increasing species of our population of our species. We want to have zero loss of our natural habitats, therefore maintaining and restoring them to ensure climate resilience. And in the same process, we want to be able to halve the global footprint of our consumption and production, including the attendant greenhouse gas emissions there too. So our mission is really to stop the degradation of our planet's natural environment and build a future in which people live in harmony with nature. So as you can see in this diagram, the people benefit is also important for us. And all of the work that we do is aligned to international multilateral environmental agreements such as the SDGs, the UNFCCC Framework on Climate Change, and the Convention on Biological Diversity. All of this is reflected in the work that WWF does in all of our offices across the world. We call them practices. That's why wildlife is just one of the practices that WWF does. We have forests, oceans, fresh water, climate and energy, which I head in the Philippine office, food. We have work on cross-cutting sectors such as finance, markets, and governance. And we all do this because we know in order to have a sustainable future, we need to couple environmental protection along with economic development so that we will be able to help people while protecting our habitats and securing a sustainable future. In the Philippines, these practices are summed up into four themes that are our priorities. We call them CHEF. That's for sustainable consumption, working on habitats, working on the energy transition, which is most of the work that I do, and of course, looking at sustainable food production. All of this so that we can have addressing climate change as well as ensuring that biodiversity loss doesn't happen anymore or we're halting it by year 2030. Because we live in a time called the Anthropocene, a period in which human actions play a major role in shaping the biosphere and its processes. And unfortunately, human processes have become the dominant driver for better or for worse. And therefore, we need to be able to address this in many ways. So this morning, I want to introduce to you also the interactions of the work that WWF does, along with this platform that we have, which is Earth R, revolves around. Basically, we are revolving around these three interactions of climate change, of people, and of nature. As you can see here, climate change climate change can actually drive nature loss. And nature loss can also drive climate change. So it's in a way symbiotic. But if we're able to address climate change, we can actually help the natural systems regulate climate. Many people don't realize that nature is actually climate's secret ally. So by ensuring that we protect and restore our nature, we're actually also protecting ourselves because nature provides contributions to people. So as you can see here, this is a cycle, and we know that the cycle of life, everything is connected. But I'm here today to explain to you this platform that WWF co-founded back in 2007, which is Earth Hour. And Earth Hour 2023, our theme or our theme is to make this the biggest hour for Earth. You know, coming out from the pandemic, many people really realized many things. One is that our planet and its ecosystems are very important. Second, health is quite important for all of us. And then we realize there is a connection between the health of our environment and our own health itself. But also that people want to be able to connect really to each other face to face. And Earth R has provided that through the years. So Earth Hour will happen tomorrow, March 25, Saturday. The hour itself is 8:30. And we're very proud that Earth Hour, when it started off as a symbolic event through our Sydney office in Australia in 2007, it started off, even though symbolic, it has now grown into the world's largest grassroots environmental movement. and many cities, over 7,000 cities in 193 countries and territories, have participated and continue to support Earth Hour through various activities. Just to share to you the evolution since 2007. For 10 years, we concentrated the narrative of Earth Hour on building awareness and climate change. If many of you would remember in 2007, not many people would understand what climate change is all about. Ano nga ba yung pagbabago ng klima, di ba? Ang tinatanong nila. Pero nalaman din natin through our own efforts through Earth Hour as well as the efforts of many stakeholders that climate change is real. Nangyayari yan whether you live in a city or whether you live in a rural area or even a coastal area, nagbabago na po ang ating klima. So we try to use Earth Hour as a platform to shine a light on climate action for 10 years. But we also recognize that there are other challenges we also face. And a big part of that is the loss of biodiversity, which is alarming because in 2022, WWF came out with its Our Living Planet report, which stated that and found through many studies that species loss has been, and the rate of species loss has been quite fast. As much as 60 to 70% of some of our species are now in threatened status or even extinct, unfortunately. And therefore, we needed to raise the awareness also of what's happening in terms of nature. So in 2018, 2019, and 2020, so for 3 years, we used Earth Hour as a platform for people to understand how do you connect to Earth? How do we ensure that our nature matters to us? And how do we ensure also that nature is something that we will look closely at, not just to appreciate, but also to be actually one of the solutions to the challenges we face. So the objective of Earth Hour since 2020 and moving forward, including this year, is to really halt the loss of biodiversity by 2030. And because in 2022 and 2020 there was supposed to be, this was pre-pandemic, on that year there was the convention on biodiversity that was supposed to happen in 2020, but because of the pandemic it had to be postponed. And 2 years after, in 2022, we were able to secure components of a new deal for nature and people in the global biodiversity framework that was passed in Montreal as part of the Convention on Biological Diversity. And for us in Earth Hour, we want to be able to use Earth Hour with this conservation and policy goal in mind, and to ensure that people understand that nature matters. And hopefully through the work of Earth Hour, we'd be able to inspire people to be able to act so that we can halt this loss clearly and make it a not just a global agenda, but also a national and local agenda. So as part of Earth Hour, and I've been with Earth Hour being the national director for the Earth Hour Philippines since 2011, which was my first Earth Hour. I'm very, very honored to be part of this organization and to be part of this movement. And I've seen how it has become very popular as a global grassroots climate change awareness platform. As I mentioned, 10 years namin ginawa na climate change, yung awareness raising namin. And we've seen also how much it has grown, not just locally, but globally. As I mentioned, over 190 countries have participated, and that's 97% of the world. So really, the reach and impact of Earth Hour has been substantial. Further, we wanted to raise the voice of the global south. It is basically, these are the developing countries, that us developing countries, even though we are suffering the brunt of climate change, we actually also have some of the best practices and solutions in implementing to be able to address that. And we wanted to use also Earth as a way to resonate with the public, that these are the messages that are critical for us to also understand. And Earth Hour has been such a big, of course, PR moment because many global and local media spotlights have really looked to Earth Hour and shown their own support in not just promoting Earth Hour, but also promoting what solutions and measures can people do to be able to be part of the solution. And we're proud that Earth R is actually very unique. Many companies and charities try to copy it or try to find a way to be able to duplicate how Earth R has become, but they've not been able to do so. And because maybe the uniqueness of the message, the uniqueness also and how it resonates and becomes relevant to people is something that many of our not only kababayans but also people around the world fully understand. And therefore, Earth R has really become one of the best performing reach and awareness platforms of WWF through the years. And this is even during the pandemic, just to show to you, and of course, on behalf of WWF and Earth R, we'd like to thank everyone who participated even during the pandemic. During Earth R 2022, we had great reach and great impact. 192 countries and territories participated. We were even if we were in lockdown, social media was one of the big things that we used. Therefore, we had over 10 billion impressions, meaning those who used and shared the hashtags of Earth Hour, Connect to Earth, and other related hashtags. These were very appreciative, and we appreciate them very much because it made the Earth Art trend in over 35 countries, and I think including the Philippines. And not only that, we had public figures who expressed their support from the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres to even heads of state, to artists as well as a celebrity ambassadors all across the world. Many of them really showed their support, not just by saying what Earth R is, but by doing as well. And we hope that they continue to do that, and many people also continue to do it. Not just in switching off at their homes, but a range of activities that they can do throughout the years. But now we have the big idea for this year, and we're really using Earth R as a multi-year platform to magnify the power of the R from 2023 and beyond. And we hope that Earth R 2023 really unites the globe now that many are coming out of the pandemic and their own lockdowns, so that we can make this the greatest moment for the planet the world has ever seen. So the hashtag we use now is the biggest hour for Earth. The local theme, the way we localize this is we want people to know that while we recognize that we have the huge challenges of climate change, biodiversity loss, and also pollution ahead of us, we know that everyone can be part of the solution. And that there are many solutions at every level, from the community to the local to the national, and everyone can share their community knowledge and expertise. Therefore, we're not alone in this fight. And as not being alone in this fight, we want to be able to bring together organizations, governments, agencies, so that we can address the climate crisis as well as the biodiversity loss at various levels. And we know that it's important that we scale up and roll out all of these solutions so that all of us can echo community voices as well as continue to have this commitment to harness also the power of the individual as well as the power of collective action. So just to share to you also our campaign goals for 2023 for Earth Hour is of course to raise awareness, is to promote and measure the reduction, because they always ask us, ano ba yung na-reduce for that 1 hour? And with DTI, I know you have many industries who are probably listening and businesses, and when you switch off, we will actually be able to calculate that through our partnership with the DOE, who has promised to share with us the load drop for that 1 hour. And just to show that how we can, even with 1 hour, what amount of savings can actually occur when we do the switch off. We want to also, of course, engage the Filipino audience through an in-person event. So we will be doing an actual switch off tomorrow. But we also want to engage the Filipino audience through webinars such as this. So we're very grateful to DTI for extending this opportunity to us and to share, of course, who WWF is, to share also what the Earth Hour aims to do, and hopefully that you can as well be able to promote this awareness to your own spheres of influence. Just to show to you our target audience, so of course for our pre-switch off event, we have, our because this will be done in Quezon City through the graciousness of partnership with the Quezon City government. We will be doing this at the Quezon City Memorial Circle. And we will be also doing a sustainability fair, which will start at 4:30 in the afternoon. We also have a Bright Ideas online campaign, which you can follow in our social media channels. And we hope that you can also share this so that you can know who is actually and what are their bright ideas in terms of sustainability and sustainable lifestyle. And these are people who are not only from the cities. These are also from our coastal communities, our farmers that we work with, who have bright ideas to share. And we do have a run and ride or virtual run that is currently that will happen starting tomorrow at Earth. For the switch off, as I mentioned, this will be an in-person event. So if you're from Quezon City, we invite you to do come to the Liwasang Aurora in the Quezon Memorial Circle, wherein we will have a program which will feature key messages, not just from WWF, but also from government partners, talks from our celebrity ambassadors, musical performances, and also a countdown to Earth Hour when we'll hopefully switch off that pylon that you see in the picture. But during that hour itself, we will have a symbolic run, and a sustainability fair will also be occurring during that period. And that sustainability fair is actually through our own partnerships with social enterprises who we want to also promote their work because we know, as we mentioned earlier, everyone, we are all in this together, and everyone is part of the solution. So we want to highlight also our own NGO partners and community partners and social enterprises who have their own solutions to climate and environmental challenges. So they will be setting up booths tomorrow, and hope that if you do come, you would also partake and learn from them. So um, once again, Earth Hour 2023 happening tomorrow, and our message is that as we learn about Earth Hour and do what we can to save the planet, we can still change the ending. Even though many scientists, and just recently the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change already issued their summary report on climate change, saying that really we are in a climate crisis and in a climate emergency, and it's all because of our own doing. But I think the message of Earth Hour is that we can still hashtag change the ending because humans can live in harmony with nature. And we can reverse the loss of nature and still restore the health of our planet because this is everybody's responsibility. While WWF and through Earth Hour is leading this charge, we know that everyone should also have their role to play in building a future where people and nature thrive because do believe that together possible, while together responsible, together possible. So maraming salamat po at I hope to see you tomorrow in Earth Hour, or do switch off your non-essential lights and appliances and do go beyond the hour after that. Thank you.
Thank you po for that informative presentation, Attorney Gia. Good morning po ulit sa ating mga participants here in Zoom and everyone joining us via DTI Consumer Care Facebook and DTI Philippines YouTube. Before we proceed po with our question and answer portion, here are some reminders. Kindly stay muted po unless you are addressing the speaker or moderator directly. Please be also informed na makakapag-download po tayo ng copy ng presentation material after you accomplish the client satisfaction form or the CSF form that will be posted in the chat box section. Para mas maging interactive po ang ating Q&A portion, we encourage everyone to click the raise hand button so we can call you to ask directly to our speaker. Pwede rin pong isend ang inyong question sa chat box. Good morning po. Let us now open our question and answer portion. Habang wala pa pong nagre-raise hand, magbabasa po muna tayo ng mga questions para po sa unang katanungan. Aside from switching off my lights for an hour, what can I do more to get involved as a consumer?
No, magandang tanong po 'yan at salamat sa tanong. Madami pong puwedeng gawin as a consumer 'no. One is, Earth Hour is not just about electricity. It's not just about light. So you can conserve, for example, water. Critical po 'yan, especially now going into the summer months. Second is look at also your consumption itself. We are consumers, right? So bumibili tayo, namimili tayo, mamili tayo ng maayos. Kumbaga, think about where your one is where your what's packaged, how is it packaged? Does it contain unnecessary plastics? Because plastic is also a challenge that we're facing now in our country. So as part of the of pollution that's happening. So even in terms of, for example, food, inuubos ba natin yung pagkain natin pag binibili natin? Because food waste is also another challenge that we all face. So I think there are many things, not just electricity. So even within that hour, kung kakain kayo within that hour, ubusin niyo yung pagkain niyo, di ba? I mean, it's not just also, while we have a set time for Earth Hour, which is 8:30 to 9:30, we want to make a clear message to everyone that we can go beyond the hour. Use Earth Hour as the start of your environmental journey to be able to provide a positive impact for our planet. And by doing even the simple things such as switching off the lights or unnecessary, kung hindi nyo naman kailangan, unplugging appliances that don't need to be plugged every time. And then looking at your own consumption and how you also live, I think that's as a on a year-to-year basis can be very helpful for our planet. So madami pa ho pwedeng gawin, no? So from food, from water, from energy, even from transport. For many of us, if we can carpool, that would be fantastic. Once siguro our MRT system has been up and running, the new construction that will provide mass transportation for many, and many things. Even if you own your own car, even the simplest way of maintaining your vehicle so that it um, does not emit additional emissions is already a simple matter that can already help. So there are many things that as consumers can do.
Ayan, maraming salamat po, Attorney. Para naman po sa susunod na katanungan from Miss Gina Yap, why is Earth Hour the event held in late March?
Alam nyo, natanong rin sa akin yan. And I think one of the things, there is nothing symbolic about it in that sense. But I think the equinox also, I mean, we're now leading towards the summer months. So the demand for energy will be increasing. So we wanted to also ensure that maaga pa lang, let's make people aware of the impact of what 1 hour can do. To be able to conserve electricity and be more efficient. I think that's one of the things. And there is a Earth Day because people confuse, di ba, Earth Hour with Earth Day. May nagsabi nga, ba't hindi nilang i-extend ang Earth Hour into 1 day? Meron na po yan. In fact, yung Earth Day, nauna pa nga ho sa Earth Hour. Earth Day is celebrated every April 22. And I think its roots started in the 70s, 60s, 70s, as a movement itself. But we wanted to use also Earth Hour as to also help that movement because oftentimes people say, isang araw parang ang masyadong malaki. Pero ano pwede mo gawin in 1 hour, which is even simpler, right? So March, I think, is leading towards the summer months, at least for us in this hemisphere. And it's a good way to already start that awareness about conserving energy and being more energy efficient.
Maraming salamat po, Attorney. Para naman po sa susunod na katanungan, how can the organizers measure the effectivity of the campaign?
Magandang tanong po ho yan. Actually, we've looked at various ways that we can determine success. One of those is, of course, if the load drop is considerable. Of course, we also get criticized by it, no? Kasi ano naman, pag nag-switch on naman, it might have a pressure on the system of our grid. And that is also one thing that we want to ensure na hindi mangyayari, which DOE says naman, hindi naman masyadong impact yon. But that's one of the things that we look into, the load drop that happens. But also second is that whether in fact there are many cities and municipalities and provinces that also participate, whether in fact it's a actual switch off event, or even during the day when they say that we will use Earth Hour as a start of for activities that they will be doing, and that includes many things, from tree planting to bike runs to even simple environmental education seminars happening on the day itself. And so we get reports and we request people to send us their own photos because we want to collate this documentation. But we also, because to our partnership with leagues of cities and and provinces and municipalities, we've been getting, of course, memorandum circulars from these cities and even from the government agencies. Yun yung pinaka hinihingi po namin na through the government agencies that they would issue memorandum circulars to their constituents para lang to remind them to participate and encourage them to participate even in their own homes, and also to do it beyond the hour. So these are ways that we use to be able to measure success for a campaign. But throughout the years, we also try to see how we can be able to see if our messages resonate, especially the beyond the hour component. And there are many things that we try to also look into, whether in fact there's continuing engagement from the many organizations that we've already started to work with, but also whether there are new laws that use, because it's through Earth Hour, and policies because of Earth Hour na nai-institute po at nai-implement. So, but that's something that continuously we continue to find ways to be able to evolve and see how we can monitor and evaluate effectively the campaign that we have.
Thank you po, Attorney. Para naman po sa susunod nating katanungan, does Earth Hour reduce carbon footprint po?
Magandang tanong ho yan. So, if you do switch off your non-essential lights on Saturday po, theoretically, yes, you are also reducing emissions, because we know that our electricity, most of it really comes from the burning of fossil fuel, such as oil, coal, and gas. And kung merong less demand during that time of hour, there's less need to produce electricity. Tama ho ba? So we can say that there is a reduction of emissions also with the reduction of electricity. But I think beyond just electricity, we should also think about what we can do on a day-to-day basis, which can also reduce our carbon emissions. So included dyan yung amount of waste that we generate. Kung hindi tayo nag-generate ng kalakihan ng waste, then the methane emissions will also reduce. And we know that methane is more than 21 times warmer in terms of global warming potential as a greenhouse gas. So, and then looking also at our how we use our transport system. So it's while Earth Hour is just 1 hour, we want to tell people that that practice of 1 hour can be extended throughout the year and therefore your emissions for that 1 hour can also start be reducing or minimized throughout the year if you continue to do these environmental measures as well.
Thank you po, attorney. Para naman po sa ating susunod na katanungan, galing po kay Mr. Nestor Camiging Acope, what program or effort have been exerted to at least curb consumerism, which to my mind is one of the causes of bulk of waste improperly disposed?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Nestor, for your question. In fact, one of the things that is now being pushed for is because we now have the new extended producers responsibility law. Yan po yung mga producers po ng mga products, consumer products who are now being asked to extend their responsibility on how they would take care of the end of life also of their own products. So they're asked now to register with the DNR. So kasama po yan, but also to look closely at yung circular economy, including how they design packaging, make packaging that is more environmentally friendly. But I think consumerism also has to do with also a mindset and a mentality, right? Na kailangan maisip rin ng mga tao na hindi lang bili ng bili. Because minsan we just buy for the sake of buying. But if we are mindful of our way of mindful of why we buy and what needs to be bought, then I think we can then also keep in mind the effect of our own buying and spending habits. So I think that would include programs that would imbibe work that DTI is doing in terms of consumer policy and advocacy, because through DTI they can also inform the consumers na okay, these are how you can be a responsible consumer so that you provide a sustainable future for many people. Another thing is to, when we start young, we can start programs such as environmental education or even education. One of the things that WWF does, which is we call it education for sustainable development, wherein we are is a holistic way of providing or learning learning for teachers as well as learners, na you don't only teach, for example, climate change in science, but you can actually teach it in arts, in math, in even in Tagalog. So, or Araling Panlipunan. So it's a more holistic approach because the sustainable development goals, which every country is going to be accountable for by 2030, kung nagawa po ba natin yan, has to be taught in a more holistic manner. So I think those are programs which can also help curb consumerism, because once people understand that for us to have a sustainable future, we need to ensure that our own consumption is sustainable. And how we produce also these goods should be also in a sustainable manner. So hopefully this can be magnified, and maybe through also efforts of DTI, this can also be something that our own consumers be more mindful also of how we consume and produce goods.
Thank you po, attorney. Para naman po sa ating susunod na katanungan, how do you measure the participation of the consumers and businesses in this campaign? Is the campaign nationwide or within Metro Manila only?
Thank you sa tanong, no? So, sagutin ko muna yung last one. Is it nationwide or in Metro Manila? It's a nationwide campaign. That's why we've partnered with the League of Cities, because they're across the country. All of our cities are big cities, whether highly urbanized or even component cities across the country po yan. So partners po namin sila, even the provinces. So it's really a national campaign. But of course, it's with local implementation. So yung first question niya na paano namin na-measure? Na-measure lang namin only through the cities themselves or through the municipalities or provinces who participate. Hindi na namin po natatrack rin yung hanggang sa lokal na ilan nga ba yung, let's say, pumunta dun sa switch off, unless magsabi po yung syudad po sa amin na we had this so many participants. So the main thing that we really rely on is data that we get from the load drop, from DOE, as well as reports also from the various government agencies, organizations, as well as the local government units. Maybe through you can suggest to us how do we track it better. But for us, I think what is sufficient is that the message gets out na even with with Earth Hour now, 1 hour lang ho yan, sana gawin nila beyond the hour all their environmental activities. Kasi that can be measured rin eventually when the government reports on what is the state of our environment, what is the state of our nature, di ba? So, kumbaga, cumulatively, nakaka-capture rin naman po yun. And I think part of Earth R is really to say that the power is in the individual, pero if we all act together, that collective action can really magnify the impact po even more.
Thank you po, attorney. Para naman po sa ating sa susunod na katanungan, are there global project po or program that stem from Earth Hour since the movement began?
Ay, oo, magandang tanong yan. Actually, in other countries, ginagamit po nilang Earth Hour as a platform to raise awareness on critical issues important for that country. So for example, ang WWF Uganda, ginamit po ang Earth Hour to be able to establish the first Earth Hour forest, which is composed of over 2,000 hectares in Uganda. So meron na ho yan na declared siya and continued to be protected. In Argentina, ginamit rin po ang Earth Hour as a way to be able to establish the first marine protected area in their country. And now there is policy and I think legislation that bolsters that. No, so there are many ways by which we've used Earth Hour to be able to globally also push for. In fact, Earth Hour, we've used the voice of Earth Hour for many things in pushing for the UN Climate Change Convention, in the sense na to say that these are the people who have united themselves even for this 1 hour to raise awareness on climate change, to raise their voices that we should act on climate change. So I think that is the global message that we also bring, and the fact that we have um, international key decision makers. I mean, even the UN Secretary General has participated in Earth Hour. I think says a lot that they believe in the message that Earth Hour brings.
Thank you po, attorney. Para naman po sa susunod na katanungan, for businesses and organizations, what is the best way for us to celebrate Earth Hour? What do they benefit from participating in the Earth Hour campaign?
Siguro, thank you no sa tanong no. Yung benefit really there is really more of a benefit in terms of, one is energy savings. Second is that also you are also participating in a community-wide engagement. Hindi lang siya for the Philippines, but we're tracking this for the Philippines, but it's reported globally as well. So I think we are able then to show that even as Filipinos, meron pong ginagawa. Of course, kami sa Earth R, wala kaming mga binibigay na, financial incentive or anything. Everything here is really voluntary. But what we want people to take away from is that I think this responsibility of providing a good model as a global citizen. And if we really truly love our planet and we want to also ensure that this is going to be sustainable not just for our generation but for the future generations, I don't think you need any benefit that has to be provided. The benefit is that we will live in a sustainable planet. The benefit is that we will have very good biodiversity with us. The benefit is that we will continue to enjoy the ecosystem services that our environment provides us. So I think these are, hindi siya quantifiable monetarily, but it will ensure that we live a quality of life that is good for everyone.
Thank you, attorney. Para naman po sa katanungan galing kay Sir Nestor Kamiging a copy ulit. Aside from Earth R, do you have specific program or which support and encourage the use of renewable energy in order to address climate change?
Thank you, Sir Nestor, ulit for the question. Yes, we do. In fact, as WWF, and that's where my other hat is because I head the climate and energy program of WWF-Philippines. We do promote as part of our advocacy the use of renewable energy as well as energy efficiency and conservation. Kasi dapat tandem po yan eh. If you're energy efficient, you lessen the demand already for energy and patungan nyo pa yan ng renewable energy, then you're even, the source of energy that you have is even greener. So we do have programs. In fact, we have one current project that's running, working with the local government to be able for them to develop their own local energy development plan. Because we know that most LGUs, they know how to do their city development plan. They know how to do their city investment plans. But they never really thought about what's the energy demand or energy need that I have to power the development that I want for my city, right? So ang ano namin doon theory is if we can be able to engage these cities and get them capacitated to understand nga na in fact it's within your power to be able to harness the renewable energy resources which are probably located already in their jurisdiction and put it in a plan and it is in harmony also with their own development plans, then all the more the better, right? So ginagawa po namin yan, and in fact, because DOE now is with the new energy efficiency and conservation law, they're now requiring LGUs to have their energy plans. Many LGUs are now coming to us also to ask for assistance or how do they start to begin creating their local energy plans. So isa po ho 'yon. And of course yung motive namin kumbaga is we through those energy plans, we want to encourage the LGUs also to use more renewable energy or even to provide many maybe benefits for their citizens or residents who will have install renewable energy applications in their own homes or businesses. So isa po yan sa mga programa na sinusulong po namin.
Thank you po, attorney. Again po, para po sa mga participants natin here sa Zoom, we are encouraging you, everyone, to click the raise hand button so we can call you to ask directly to our speaker. Ang susunod naman po na katanungan ay galing kay Rosalia Sally Pagtakhan. Do you have programs or projects as a pay-forward initiative to share the gains of Earth R to the less fortunate or areas in the Philippines where electric power is not yet present?
Yes, thank you, Miss Rosalia. No, in fact, there was a year that we had we called it the gift of light. Wherein we were fortunate enough to have solar home systems that we donated and also taught far-flung areas, specifically in Palawan Island, mga island barangays po yan, na tinulungan po namin to have their own source of power through solar home systems. So naka-install yan, tinuruan po namin yung mga nanay kasi sila yung usual na yung eager to learn also. So even to do simple problem solving about mga simple solar home systems. So nagawa po namin yan and that is something we are looking forward sana to do continuously coming out from the pandemic. But we're still strategizing ano pa yung pwede nating magawa para pati yung ating mga kababayan sa malalayong lugar makakakuha pa rin ng benepisyo po ng malinis na enerhiya po.
Yan. Thank you po, attorney. How can the organizer ensures that the promotion of this event and its activities uses the minimum footprint electricity and resources po?
Nako, interesting na tanong 'yan. And ang sagot hindi simple. Kasi syempre individual 'yan, 'di ba? Hindi namin matatrack lahat ng anong nagawa. So and we really encourage na sana through our partnerships with the local governments and the government agencies na makahanap rin tayo ng paraan kung paano natin matatrack yan ng maayos para on a day-to-day basis, hindi lang through Earth Hour, itong mga environmental measures and practices talagang ginagawa. The only way I think that we can ensure it is to ensure to one is to provide education, to be able to capacitate people, give them the tools, and hopefully also try to influence their mindset na this is all good, not just for the individual, it's good for our locality, it's good for our country, it's good for the planet. And so yun lang siguro ang way by which we can be able to track and ensure na napapass on po yung information to continuously do these kinds of awareness raising and ensure na sana pumasok rin sa ating mga isip at ating mga puso na ito'y talagang good for everyone. That's why siguro yung mga tao sinasabi na Earth Hour na naman ulit, di ba? Parang on a year-to-year basis, kailangan bang gawin yan? I think kailangan rin natin ma-remind yung sarili natin, di ba? Kasi kadalasan, minsan, kung hindi ka fully immersed, may tendency pa rin makalimot. So I would like to think that Earth Hour is a way for us to re-engage ourselves in our environmental practices and re-engage also na to ensure na magawa natin consistently para magkaroon po tayo ng malinis na kapaligiran at maayos na kinabukasan para sa lahat.
Thank you po, Attorney Gia. Para naman po sa susunod na katanungan, how did the celebration of Earth Hour change due to the pandemic?
Interesting rin yun na tanong. So, of course, syempre, nung 2020, naalala ko pa yan, March, naririnig-rinig na namin na merong parang madaming nagkakasakit. Kasi 'di ba parang if you remember December 2019 was when I think in China there was something happening already and people weren't so sure. We had our own media launch kami, face to face rin 'yon. Although meron na kami naririnig na sa Green Hills meron na raw nagkasakit at hindi nila alam ano na sakit 'yon. So in 2020 we decided to have it virtual eventually kasi na sila nagsabi ng gobyerno na lockdown na po tayo. So nag-transition rin kami naturally to virtual. And I think what was good was that even in the years before the pandemic, we've been using already Facebook, we've been using already the social media channels. We just needed to be more creative kung paano namin gagawin yung switch off. So we did have like a virtual switch off on the hour itself. We did a Netflix type na yung isang oras na yan, we had environmental shows that would be shown during that hour. And last year also, we used also the hour itself to have a roundtable discussion about the different environmental issues that we now face. Hindi lang climate change. So pati mining na discuss rin namin during that time, no? So I think nagawa pa rin namin ang Earth Hour. Hindi nga lang kami nagkita-kita, hindi lang tayo nagkita-kita ng face-to-face. Pero nagawa rin naman ng paraan at natutuwa naman po kami na madami pa rin na nagsuporta. As I mentioned earlier, we had social media-wise, over 10 billion impressions na gumamit ng hashtag na Earth Hour or hashtag Connect to Earth. And we hope na this year will also be the same, but even better because we want this to be the biggest hour for Earth.
Thank you po, Attorney. And para naman po ulit sa susunod na katanungan, is the Earth Hour campaign serving its purpose and really effective in achieving its objective? How long do you intend to celebrate this campaign or initiative?
Maganda yung tanong na yan. No? So, will it continue? I think we will still continue. How long, I cannot say. Kasi if there is still a demand and there is still the need to be able to raise that awareness for people to understand, one is alam na nila ang climate change eh. Pero now, ang narrative po namin is we have biodiversity that are very critical and we're losing them. We have to ensure na hindi natin sila mawala kasi merong services or ecosystem services na binibigay siya dito sa atin, no? So I think Earth Hour will still continue even if let's say sabi mo na wala na ako as national director. I think it will continue and be something that will, as a movement, will continue to provide a platform for people to fully understand how they can get engaged in ensuring that we have a planet that is sustainable. And I think naman na ako, ano na, since 2011, Earth Hour National Director na po ako for Earth Hour Philippines. Medyo matagal-tagal na rin yon. Nakaka 10 years na rin, no, as National Director. So I think it's a testament not to myself, but the testament that the message of Earth Hour continues to be supported throughout the years. And it's not because of our own doing as the organization behind it, but mostly from people like you, from everyone who's listening to this webinar series, and all of those who are supporting Earth Hour through the years. It is through your own efforts that we're still here. So we feel that we're still relevant. We still feel na importante pa rin yung message namin. And we're here to support everyone, to provide them the necessary tools to raise that awareness, to make our planet Earth even more livable.
Thank you, Attorney. Ayan, naka-receive po tayo ng message from Miss Janet. Good PM po, sana makipag-partner po kayo sa DepEd para habang bata pa mas mulat na ang kabataan about sa Earth Hour. In relation to this food, Attorney, meron po bang partnership ang WWF-Philippines among government agencies to strengthen and promote WWF's initiative and efforts po?
Oo, thank you Miss Janet. For DepEd, in fact, nag-present na po kami sa DepEd before po about po yung education for sustainable development. And then nagsabi rin sila that they'll be rolling that out in 2024. But in the meantime, ginawa po namin parang pilot demo po yung isang work namin na project with Quezon City. Ang tawag namin doon RCT 2030, parang youth visions for a sustainable city. So kinuha po namin yung visions po ng ating mga kabataan doon sa syudad in 3 public high schools ang partner namin and through the SDO, the School District Office ng Quezon City. And we want to be able to increase that po, no? So even in fact si Quezon City sabi niya, naku, tatlong eskwelahan lang to, madami silang public schools. So gusto rin nilang i-replicate po yung process na yan. So nandito naman kami para maging resource persons para mangyari po yan. In terms of other government agencies, yes, we've been of course in certain projects we are partners with government agencies such as NEDA. Meron po kaming work on sustainable infrastructure planning po. Meron po kaming engagements with the DNR rin po in various projects that we have in WWF. And then of course sa DOE, specifically dito for Earth Hour. So we hope sa DTI sa susunod meron po tayong something critical. Maybe we can work on things such as sustainable consumption po, especially in the food production work kasi yun po yung pinaka-theme ng WWF-Philippines. And then we're working on of course plastic pollution po we have a big initiative, we call it No Plastics in Nature initiative, and that's something that we are working closely with in cities, in certain key cities. And then we have also work in our ports kasi we want to ensure we have clean ports for clean cities. Yun po.
Thank you po, Attorney. Para naman po sa next question, there have been several global efforts to address climate change. In WWF's perspective, is there an improvement in the climate crisis? Are we actually addressing the climate change crisis or problems po?
Magandang tanong yan, no? I think it's half and half. So there are already initiatives globally which has trickled locally that have benefited our climate. But if you understand po the climate system and the heating that's happening, yung global warming, unfortunately, the rate of increase is getting faster. And the latest IPCC report, yung mga scientists natin, are really saying na there is a lot of work that has been done already in terms of climate resilient development, pero nahihirapan na siya mag-catch up because our climate system, the warming is getting faster. And this is where they're saying we really need to do rapid, drastic reduction of our emissions, not just in the Philippines, but globally. But people will always say, maliit tayong bansa, yung emission natin, di siya kasing laki tulad ng ibang mga bansa na talagang malalaki po yung emission, no? Tama po tayo dyan. But since we are part of a global community, we should show to them that in fact, we're doing something, diba? So it's not a matter of, sige, sila na mag-reduce. We can show to them that in fact, we're doing our own part and you should do even more. And I think that is also the message that WWF tries to bring na from the global south. Meaning tayo, mga developing countries, we're impacted, we're vulnerable to the impacts of climate change, but we're doing our part to be able to address climate change. And therefore, those who are in the global north should listen up and do what they promised and do what they said that they would do, provide the financing, provide the technology, and also reduce in their own countries. So ano ho yan, merong gains na nakakatulong na po sa pagbabago ng klima na ma-reduce ng konti, pero yun nga hindi pa siya sapat. Dahil napakabilis nung sa feedback system na nangyayari sa climate cycle na mainit pa rin ang ating mundo. And kaya yun yung medyo nakakabahala rin. So I think all of us should really double our efforts para hindi tayo umabot dun sa sinasabi ng mga scientists na tipping point.
Thank you po, Attorney. Ang susunod naman po nating katanungan is in relation pa rin po about sa government agencies. Nagpa-participate or nai-involve ba ang WWF-Philippines in policy development and implementation among national government agencies like DOE and DNR or etc. po?
Thank you sa tanong, no? So, na-involve naman po kami in various ways po. So, one is through public consultations. Pag nagtawag po ng public consultation po ang isang government agency tungkol sa, let's say, bagong panukala nila na gusto nilang i-push, we try as much as we can to participate in that. We get invited or minsan kahit hindi kami naimbita at nalalaman na lang namin na meron, pumunta naman din kami kasi we provide also what we think might be good policies to be instituted. Second is we also have the opportunity, we've had the privilege, in fact, I've had the privilege of having to sit in the National Renewable Energy Board, which is a policy making board, in chairing one of its subcommittees po. And before, meron rin po kaming, we were also as the NGO representative to the NREB, also through our former chairperson. Yun rin is another opportunity na we use to be able to also influence or provide policy suggestions sa mga policies. That in the case of energy. But also, we also have been asked to provide policy papers or position papers to, for example, to Congress in various new proposed legislation. So yun yung ways and avenues, and we do have a policy person, a policy officer in WWF who looks and tracks this.
Thank you, Attorney. For our next question po from Miss Olivia T. Orillo. So what is the implication of Earth R2 being interconnected in our global society?
Oh, thank you sa tanong po, Miss Olivia, no? So, well, Earth Hour in itself is a global movement. And I think the implication of that means that everyone from all of these 92 countries, whether you're a small community or we count it just magnifies that that they think that one is nature is important, that they think that we really should be doing something to address climate change, and that life is important overall. So I think by being part of Earth R, and it's connected to this global movement, it really magnifies that message na we are all in this together. Kasi lahat tayo, we're facing the same challenges. But we also have various ways or measures that we're using to address these challenges. And we can learn from each other, kasi what can work in another area can possibly work in us, in our places, di ba? So that global community provides that exchange also of ideas, and exchange also of knowledge and expertise. And then also magnifies rin po the community voices that we have. So I think that's the beauty of Earth R, kasi global nga siya na movement with local application. Na ma-magnify po yung mga messages from the local even to the global po.
Thank you, Attorney. Galing naman po from Miss Cheryl Jonesa. Matagal na pong problema ang plastic. Ano po ba ang masasabi nyo sa mga nagmamanufacture ng plastic? Kasi isa po yan sa pinakamalaking polusyon sa ating kapaligiran.
Maraming salamat, Miss Cheryl, no. Totoo, malaking problema po to ang plastic, at ito'y kinahaharap na ng maraming bansa, hindi lang ang Pilipinas. Pero dito sa atin, meron nga na-mention ko nga dyan yung bagong Extended Producers Responsibility Law na ngayon pinaparehistro nga ngayon yung mga malalaking mga industriya, lalo na yung may mga manufacturers mismo, pinaparegister na po dyan, at may mga disclosures na silang kailangang gawin sa DNR para maipakita nga kung ano yung mga ginagawa nila sa kanilang mga produkto, no? Para ma-reduce po yung plastic. Pero ang isa pa dyan is, siguro wala pa ho tayong batas on single-use plastics. May mga individual initiatives on a per city basis, or even sa isang manufacturer, no? Nag-shift na sila, not using plastics, maybe producing something in paper form or composite form. Pero even that, I think kailangan nating makita rin na paano ba ginagamit ng mga tao. Kasi one, as a consumer, we have the power of choice eh. So I think yung power of choice na yan, kailangan mag-resonate sa mga manufacturers. Kasi hindi naman sila magpo-produce kung hindi naman dinidemand ng mga consumers, di ba? So I think one of the things is, aside from the extended producer's responsibility and yung mga manufacturers, ano ba yung mga responsibilidad nila, isa rin is, as consumers, kailangan ma-educate tayo na we can tell them, hey, don't produce this, don't have sobrang packaging in your product. Or if you do, baka most of it should be sourced recycled material, yung mga ganon. And I think those are ways na pwede nating mapaabot sa ating mga manufacturers para naman ma-lessen po yung plastic pollution dito. But another thing is, aside from as consumers, we're also producers of waste. So kailangan rin, pag nag-produce po tayo ng waste, kailangan alam rin natin paano mag-segregate, di ba? Nagagawa nga po ba natin na maayos ang solid waste management natin sa ating mga industriya, ating mga businesses, ating mga bahay? Baka yan rin po ang isang kailangan natin paigtingin para lang rin ma-ensure na yung plastic, kung na-produce na nga siya, hindi naman siya it will be disposed of properly para hindi naman siya pupunta sa ating mga waterways and oceans.
Thank you, Attorney. Time check lang po, it's already 11:27. Last three question na lang po from our participants. We apologize for that we can only accommodate few questions because of our limited time. For our next question po, from Holieto Lalukan, in what country po ba ang mas madaming contribute sa global warming sa Earth? Ilang percent lang po ba ang Pilipinas, ma'am?
Thank you po, Mr. Julieto. Tama ho ba? Oo. Base ho dun sa mga latest po, yung mga malalaking bansa po na malaki po yung emissions nila, of course, are the industrialized countries. But if you break it down in terms of per capita, no, pumapasok na dyan yung China, ang India, as countries with the most amount of greenhouse gas emissions per capita. Um, sa Pilipinas po, maliit po tayo eh. Hindi ko na malaman kung ilang percent, pero napakaliit po. Mga one something, don't quote me on that kasi baka mali po maisabi ko, pero napakaliit kumpara doon sa malalaki. Pero ito nga, gusto nating ipakita sa global community na bagamat maliit po yung emission natin, meron naman tayong ginagawa. And even as a vulnerable country, we are adapting to climate change through various measures and various means, but we're also reducing our emissions. Not only because it is good for the planet, but also, kung savings-wise, malaki ho rin yun eh. Even the simple energy efficiency, instituting simple energy efficiency and conservation measures in a business or even a household, malaki na po ang marireduce niyan sa iyong emission. 'Di ba? Even just the simple change yung dati palit ng light bulb from incandescent to CFL, ngayon LED. It actually can reduce your energy consumption. And by reducing your energy consumption, you're also reducing emissions. And that will, if cumulative as a country, malaki na po ang mababawas niyan. So I think yung importanteng mensahe dito is, okay, meron nga malalaking bansa na meron silang malaking emission na they're responsible for and should be responsible to reduce. But even us as a country with not that big emissions compared to them, we can tell them that, hey, we're doing our part and you should be doing yours too.
Thank you, Attorney Gia. For your next question naman po, ma'am, do you organize or capacitate youth groups or consumer groups and inspire them to establish, promote, and implement sustainability programs to address similar environmental problems?
Thank you sa tanong. So actually, ang WWF Philippines, meron po kaming Education for Sustainable Development Unit. Sila po yung mga pumupunta po sa mga different schools po, whether high school, elementary, whether public or private. And even we also dabbled before in college at tertiary through the yung dating ano nga yung programa sa college po na elective po ho yan na on environment. So nagpo-provide po kami ng learnings and education seminars, so all about different aspects on the environment. Kung naalala niyo yung pinakita ko sa inyo yung 9 practices ng WWF, lahat yan meron po kaming pwedeng i-discuss po. At syempre, kino-contextualize din namin tungkol sa Pilipinas. But we also try to ensure na through programs such as this one in DTI na ito yung way rin namin na maka-reach out to a different set of audience na hindi namin normally na touch base. So kaya tuwang-tuwa rin po kami na na-invite kami sa mga ganito kasi opportunity na rin namin para maibahagi po ano po yung ginagawa namin at ano po, siguro hopefully may matutunan po kayo dun sa aming mga binabahagi po. So, and we hope to look for other opportunities. We do have webinars na we especially during the pandemic that we've done, and you can join in through our social media pages. We have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, ang WWF-Philippines. So, ano po yan, kumbaga, activities that we've undertaken to be able to reach the general public. Pero very welcome po yung mga webinars tulad nito sa DTI na iba namang audience rin ang aming na-touch base kasi, and then natutuwa kami na hopefully magnify rin itong mensahe namin sa inyong mga sariling ring spheres of influence.
Thank you po, Attorney Gia. Para naman po sa susunod na katanungan, in WWF's perspective, do you think the Philippines policy and strategies that are already in place are effective towards addressing climate change and other environmental problems? What do you recommend the Philippines government to prioritize to be more proactive and effective in its efforts?
Tricky question yan pero we think, I think we do have very good laws. And we've always, I think that's one of the things na many, not only us, WWF, but even our other jurisdictions recognize na napaka-progresibo rin ng Pilipinas pagdating sa mga iba't ibang mga batas at polisiya. Even, I mean, when the Renewable Energy Law was instituted back in 2008, it was the most comprehensive RE law in Southeast Asia and probably in the world, no? Ang challenge na talaga natin is implementation. And I think implementation is not just the role of the government. It's the role also of everyone of us. Diba? If we become compliant po dyan sa mga batas, we comply with them, we ensure that it is also, we also make government accountable, but we should make ourselves accountable to do what is necessary para magkaroon po tayo ng bansa na maayos, na malinis, na ang ating kapaligiran sustainable, hindi lang pang ngayon, di ba? So I think yun yung isang kailangan natin mapag-isipan at matingnan because it's really the implementation that is the challenge as always. And it's not just the government who should be implementing. While there are a big part, isipin rin natin yung role natin in also ensuring na yung implementation ay maayos.
Thank you, Attorney Gia, for answering all our questions. For our last question, do you have tips on how I can encourage my town, city, family to participate?
Ay, nako. One is, of course, tandaan nyo, March 25, bukas. 8:30 to 9:30 po yung pinaka-oras na kung magsi-switch off po kayo, ayan, remember it, tapos sabihin nyo na sa mga kaibigan nyo. Of course, follow us on social media so that you can get more tips rin po. But also, madami rin pong pwedeng, Earth are really grew out of word of mouth. And I think that's a big thing. And as consumers, kung meron tayo na we learned about something new and something na nainganyo tayo, share it, 'di ba? Ganun lang naman po. And those are the things. I share it with everyone. I mean, from your office mates to your boss, even, and down to pag-uwi nyo mamaya sa inyong bahay, weekend na po, sabihan niyo yung mga kaibigan nyo, ang mga kamag-anak, kapamilya, kabarkada, to be able to do, participate in Earth Hour. Pero yun nga, ang sinasabi namin, beyond just Saturdays, switch off event, please go beyond the hour and ensure na we really have a planet that will be bright and beautiful for many years to come.
Ayan, maraming salamat po sa mga nagtanong. We hope nasagot po namin ni attorney lahat ng katanungan po ninyo. And we also hoping po na mag-participate po tayo for tomorrow's Earth Hour campaign. Before we close this session po, may we ask Attorney Gia to give a short message for our participants and provide them WWF-Philippines contact details should our participants have other queries and concerns.
Yes. So, unang-una sa lahat, maraming salamat po sa inyong pagkinig, sa inyong pag-participate po dito sa webinar nito. At paunahan ko na, maraming salamat sa pagsuporta sa Earth Hour for tomorrow. We really thank DTI for this opportunity, to be able to touch base with you. And hopefully that the messages that we shared here would resonate, that really, if together we can be able to build a future where people and nature thrive, and together possible, so that we can #change the ending. And hopefully we can make Earth Hour 2023 the biggest hour for Earth. So you can reach us at our social media pages in Facebook, WWF_Philippines, in Twitter at WWF_Philippines, and even Instagram. And we also have a YouTube channel, WWF Philippines, that you can also log into so that you can learn more about the initiatives that we have also beyond Earth Hour. So muli, maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. I hope na marami po kayong natutunan ngayong araw na to, ngayong umaga. And I hope you continue to live a life that is for our environment, for the enjoyment of your own families, but also to ensure that we have a sustainable future for all. Thank you.
Thank you po again to the WWF-Philippines and to Attorney Gia. This is to formally close our webinar for today. Muli, maraming salamat po sa ating very capable speaker from WWF-Philippines, Attorney Angela Consuelo Ibay. At mula po sa Consumer Protection Group, maraming salamat po sa ating mga participants na nakasama natin ngayong umaga. Huwag po ninyo kalimutang samahan kaming muli sa aming mga susunod na webinars. Our announcement will be posted in our social media accounts. For more updates, please like, follow, and subscribe to our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube accounts. DTI Consumer Care, DTI 1384, and DTI Philippines. Mag-subscribe din po kayo sa DTI 1384 text messaging upang makatanggap po tayo ng updates at kaganapan mula sa DTI Consumer Protection Group. Also, kindly accomplish and submit the survey form para makakuha din po kayo ng link at para ma-download po ang presentation na ginamit ngayong umaga. Thank you so much everyone and stay safe.
Para sa ating mamamayang Pilipino, para iwas daya dapat wais at alisto. Mainam maging mapagmatsyag at mapanuri tayo. Palakasin ang boses ng ating mga consumer. Dapat tama bawat presyo at serbisyo. Produktong pasado, lalo ang mga pangunahing bilihin. Ang kalidad ng mga produkto at serbisyo ay pangalagaan ng lahat, tayo ay panalo. Layunin ng DTI ito.
Ipatupad Price Act 7581, Consumer Act 7394, Product Standards 4109, for consumer care at iba pa, tayang 1384.
Ipalaganap karapatan at tungkulin, kaalamang tama sa consumer ibahagi. Tulay sa kaunlaran, kalakalan ay palakasin. Ito ang pagbabago para sa ikabubuti natin. Dapat tapat bawat presyo at serbisyo. Produktong pasado, lalo ang mga pangunahing bilihin. Ang kalidad ng mga produkto at serbisyo ay pangalagaan ng lahat, tayo ay panalo. Layunin ng DTI ito.
Ipatupad Price Act 7581, Consumer Act 7394, Product Standards 4109, for consumer care at iba pa, tayang 1384.
Dapat tama, dapat tapat, mula sa DTI ito.
Recording